Hi, my name is Sally, I'm from Gillard Studios, and today I'm going to answer some of the most commonly asked questions that we get in regards to booking your newborn session. So firstly, when is the best time to book your newborn session? So we open our diary every month and we allow you to book any time after your 12-week scan. So booking as early as possible is always highly recommended. However, some people like to leave it a little bit closer to the due date, which is absolutely fine as well. What we will say is we do only accept a limited number of bookings per month, and once we reach our capacity, then we don't accept any more babies. The only caveat to that then would be if we get quite a few babies that are born early or are born later, which would mean that we would open up a last minute space now and again. But again, that is never guaranteed. So we always recommend booking during pregnancy, and any time after your 12-week scan is absolutely fine. What happens then once you've booked your session? So once your session is booked in our diary, we will get in touch and arrange a consultation appointment, and that is where we invite you into the studio to meet us, have a little tour of the studio and go through everything in detail. Obviously, if your baby is already born, that's not possible. So we do try and do everything either over the phone and making sure that we send lots of information out to you. But generally, if you are booking well in advance of your due date, we will bring you in for consultation first. And then when does the actual session take place? So we won't book the date in our diary until baby has actually arrived, and that is because only 5% of babies are due on their due date, so we need to be really flexible in terms of when that session can take place. Ideally, we want to bring you into the studio when baby is between 5 and 14 days old, although up to 28 days old is absolutely fine as well. But the closer to birth, the sleepier baby still is, and we are able to achieve those curled up fetal poses that you see in our portfolio. How long does the session take? How long does it last? So a newborn session will typically take anything from 2 to 4 hours. Usually that's closer to the 4 hours, and that is because we allow plenty of time for feeds, settling in between, changing, and we don't rush through anything either. We want to make sure that we can achieve all of the poses that we can, where baby is fully comfortable and safe at all times. So there's no rush. We only ever book one newborn session into our diary in a day, and that allows us then to take as much time as we need with you as our client, and making sure that your baby's comfort and safety is our absolute priority. And then what do you want to bring to the session, and how do you prepare for your session? So this is something that we cover a lot in our consultation, and it's also something that we send out some guidance for in advance of the session as well. Typically there's not a great deal that you need to bring, other than the usual, baby bag with all of your day-to-day stuff, which you will just be getting used to when having a new baby. But there are things that perhaps you might want to bring, such as, sentimental items that you might want to, include in the session, which comes on to, can you request specific, themes, poses and things like that, which would be the next question. And yeah, absolutely, we are more than happy for you to tell us what colour schemes you want to go for, if there's any specific props that you love or anything personal that you want incorporated into your session. And this comes, we send out a questionnaire. So once baby's born, you'll get a questionnaire to complete, and you'll have the opportunity to, address all of this and relay all of the information that you think we should know for your session. The one thing that we will say is we will never force a baby into a pose that we don't think they're going to be comfortable in. So you might absolutely adore some certain poses, maybe the head and hands pose that you can see up there, over there. But all babies are different, and we have to be mindful of making sure that their comfort and safety is our absolute priority. So if we feel that a baby isn't going to safely or comfortably move into one of those positions, then obviously we're not going to force that. So just be a little bit open-minded, because your baby might not be happy in certain poses, and they might prefer to be on their back, to on their tummy, etc. And that's something that we will assess on the day of your session. What happens if baby is super fussy? So typically babies will, perhaps have a little bit of wind. More often than not, we can settle them and we will get them off to sleep. We're, pretty good and experienced, having done it for the last 10 or 11 years now. However, there is the odd occasion where we will find that a baby is very, very alert, and are clearly displaying signs where they've got a lot of wind. In those circumstances, we would just rebook your session for another day. Like I said, we're not going to force a baby into a pose that they're not happy with, and we always make sure that we've got the flexibility in our diary to be able to bring you back on a different day and reshoot if we need to. We would rather do that and know that when you come back to the studio, baby is nice and comfortable, and we can absolutely nail every single pose in a second appointment. Can you include family members in the session? Yes, of course. We fully encourage parents and siblings to get involved in the sessions. The one thing that we don't allow, unfortunately, are pets, and that is purely for a safety and hygiene reason. So we like to make sure that our studio is absolutely clinically clean, and to do that obviously we need to make sure that there's no pet hair, you know, or anything that could potentially trigger allergies in the studio. So that is the one caveat to family members. It's only human family members that we do allow into the studio. We have had grandparents and cousins brought along, you know, during the sessions as well, and that's absolutely fine too. We do ask in advance just so that we can be aware of who's coming to the session. We always explain as well, it does get a little bit boring for young children, so you know, that can be a little bit of an issue at times, but typically if you bring something for them to play with, that's absolutely fine, or you can take them down to the local park for a play and fetch them back just for the, you know, sibling or cousin poses or whatever that might be. What if baby poops during the session? That's absolutely fine, don't worry about it. Everything that we use during the session gets freshly laundered and washed each time. We fully expect it to happen. It's something that we've been doing for a very long time, and particularly peeing, we'd be more concerned if during 4 hours they didn't pee, you know, than if they do pee over absolutely everything. That's completely normal and something that we don't even bat an eyelid to. Further to that then, what happens after your session? So once your session takes place, we would then arrange for you to come back to the studio for a viewing and ordering appointment. We will have gone through all of our product pricing with you beforehand to make sure that you were aware of everything and all the different wonderful products that we offer. You can see some of them behind me here. And then during the session, your viewing appointment, we would go through all your images with you and start putting together your order. And at this point then you would place that order, and your order and images would go into retouch and production from there. And then finally, how do you book your session? So our website takes all of our bookings for us. So if you head to www.gillardstudios.co.uk and head to the booking tab, you will be able to go and select your newborn session there. It will ask you to pop your due date in, and then that would confirm your space in our diary. From there then, like I said, we would arrange your consultation appointment and fetch you into the studio for a little chat and a tour, and then it's a case of waiting for baby to arrive. And that's pretty much it. If you have got any further questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We're always happy for you to reach out to us. You can give us a call in the studio, you can drop us an email, or you can message us on any of our social media platforms, and we will come back to you as soon as possible.